Watkins Electric Music 50-watt Dominator. So this is a 50-watt head, and it's WEM. If you remember the WEM Dominator combos, for anyone who doesn't know, WEM stands for Watkins Electric Music. This amplifier is in a bit of a state. It needs a full restore. I don't think it's been run for years. So we're going to have a look at it, find out what if it actually runs, and what it needs to put it back to its former glory. So I'm just going to tilt this upwards so we can see the face plate. So we've got volume, bass, treble. Lights are shining on the aluminium again, usual problem. And then we've got volume, bass, treble for a second channel, and then we've got a middle control, bright switch. Got that looks like standby there, mains, and the pilot light, which is hanging out in despair. We see we've got these little vents on the top. Let's just swing it round and have a look at the back. As you can see, the cabinet is cracked there as well, so that's going to need some repair. Oh, sorry about the camera. Just spin him round. Bulging, just lift that up so you see. So it's the old bulging type. Oh, you can see the screws. I'm going to have to look at that. So it's the old bulging type there socket, which is broken, and not much on there really, is there? It looks like there was a voltage selector. Is that pushed in and broken? I think it is, yeah. Speaker outputs there, and you've got this thing, and I think these just screw out, if I remember. And you've got 816 there like that. So you've got 2 tappings on the output transformer, like so. A couple of EL34s there, and the preamp tubes are inside because they're mounted to the PC board. I'm not sure whether they are or not. Let's have a look. No, I think they mounted onto the chassis, those sockets. Both transformers appear to be intact. So I think what we'll do is try and get this amplifier out of this cabinet and get it on the bench so we can look at the gubbings inside. Right, got it out of the case. Apart from the broken parts, which nothing really. I mean, they just break over time anyway, and they really have to be changed to make the amp really safe. And then there's, I'm not sure what this is. I think this is probably the voltage selector. Let's see if we can zoom in on that a bit so you can see. Let's see what that actually is. Oh no, it's a connector. So that's obviously broken then at some time, and someone's just wired this up, so it's just set at 240, we presume, but we are only presuming there. See, actually, that's where he goes, but of course the only place he's going is the bin. He's had it. But that's yes. So really, I mean, this wants an IEC socket, which it'd want anyway. This wiring just sorting out, making good. Needs a pilot light. Let me just have a look. I think that's 250 volts because that's wired into this block. So a pilot light's needed. That's again nothing. We've got those. The switches, they work okay. Let me just move that down. You can't see that, can you? So just go into the switches. So the switches, they work okay, but they're very loose inside there. So we'll have some new switches in this because they're worn, badly worn. See that one, just for the bright switch, no one's hardly ever used that. It's much more solid. But these, you can see they're just look, they're just worn. So both of those, so they need to be changed, but that's fine. Again, no big deal. You'd expect to change a switch or two in an amplifier of this age, wouldn't you, really? So that's good. Not much to do there. It needs a good clean out. The cabinet needs doctoring, but Carl will do that. He's the my next door neighbour. He does all the joinery work, so that comes under joinery. So we're looking at the PC board here. It's in good condition. It's dusty, but it's in good condition. We've got a few capacitors, and we've got one there that's very sick. Let's just see if we can, how close we can get. You could probably just begin to see him. If I tilt this slightly so we can get in there and have a look. Let's try number 2 on the zoom, and there you can see it now. You can't see it head on, but that one there, you can see it's spilling its guts, and it's very, very, very bulged. So before we fire this amp up, that will need to be changed, or just a substitute put in while we run it up, because that may just let go. Got another capacitor there, and we just zoom back out a bit. So we've got another capacitor there. That's a Plessey. That's a GEC, I do believe. I'm not sure what that says. Or is it really? But not seen that. I have seen that logo before, but it eludes me from where. We've got 2 more here, and I've got a feeling, no, can't be, no, skip that. I'm in cathode bias mode. I can't believe this amp's wired in cathode bias. I can't believe that. And then at some time it's had a screen resistor change. Ooh, is that just because that socket's loose? That's been badly soldered on there, so we need to change that. But again, no big deal there for that. We'll probably change both of them anyway, put some new ones on. I'm not sure what value they are, but they should be 470, but I think 1k would be better for those. So that's all looking good. Now the tubes that's in this, so push the amp back a bit, then you can. And we have got a Braemar there, so he's okay. We'll have to test these and see if they work. We've got a Mullard, which is also very okay, if that tests good. And then we've got a yellow print Mullard, 12x7s, all 3 are 12x7s. So pretty simple design as regards, it's a basic amplifier, which we'd expect from this era. Now these are from, I was just about to say 1976, but the date on that capacitor there is June 73. What's that one? I think that's a later date, on that one. I can't quite see that very well, but I think that says 75. I could be wrong. And we've got this one that says 73. That might say 73. So it appears this amp is probably a 1973 then. Right, let's have another look over here. So we've got a board on the side. There's a fuse on there. Let's see if that fuse is in good order. Looks to be at a glance. On there. Not the best way of fastening that on, is it? It's on, but it's a little wobbly. Then there's no weight to it. And the diodes are actually on this board as well, on there. And then we've got the main electrolytics down here, you can see. If we let's just see if we can hold in there. So you can see those, oops, getting the camera flicker again. So you can see those there, and there. There's a bulge in that one slightly. That one looks okay. have a feeling that one's been changed. That's a later capacitor. So all this amp really wants is a recap and the cabinet tidying up. I can't see, obviously it wants this sorted out, but we'll do that anyway. So that I wouldn't leave the bulgins. They're not the things to be leaving these days. We always put an IC kettle socket in there, whatever they're called. So the next thing I want to do with this amp is I want to test the tubes, and then we want to see about firing this amp up. Now to fire this amp up, I think I'm going to just tack in another capacitor in there and get rid of that one. I don't want that exploding all over the inside, or that's just going to give me more work, and I don't want it exploding in my direction either. So I'm going to go off and test the tubes now. I've got the EL34s here, which are, that one's an Edicron, you can see there. What's the other one? They are different because they've got different bases, and I'm not really sure what that one is. You can just about make out a logo there. If you see, you can just about make out perhaps can't see it there, you can just about make a logo, but I'm not sure what that one is. I just have to get the magnifying glass on it, see if I can see. But anyway, we've got a couple of tubes, so we'll see see if they work. Right, I'm going to go off and test these tubes, and then I shall return. So you can see the capacitor there. I've just taken that out, and you can see we've had his money's worth out of him. He's all over. See there, June 73 on that one. Right, I've got this on the Variac. We're ready to go. I've tacked in a capacitor there, I've soldered in the live end. I've just jumped the ground onto the chassis there. I've got the bias, the meter on the left checking the bias, and I've got this meter checking the DC on the first node. Now we are I'm not going to run this right up to 240. I'm just going to run it up enough to get it running, assuming it runs, of course. We've trimmed out the pilot light. I've actually changed the fuses to a 3.15 amp. I've put 250 milliamp in them. Sorry, I put 1 amp in there and 250 milliamp on the board. There should be 2 amp and probably 1 amp, but I've done that so we're if we get any problems, we've got low fuse ratings, they should blow easy. We're watching it on the amp meter, which we just need to set. There we go, got that set, so we shall begin. So I'm just going to go, and of course we need to make sure that the switches are on. Not sure which way they go. Let's see if we see any voltage. No, we don't, do we? So let's just flick. I don't see anything. Well, I've got 35 volts going in there now, and there's nothing, so that mishmash of bad wiring could be our problem. Just going to do some checks before we go any further. We've got the voltages going through it now. It was a problem with that fuse there, the fuse holder. It wasn't quite screwed in enough, but it's a bit old and tired, so we may put a new one in there. So you can see we've got 82 volts there on the meter on the right. That's the HT voltage, and we've got negative 4.63. That's the bias, because remember we've only got low voltage. So I've got the Variac now at 50 volts, and you can see we've got 111 volts. So all we're looking for is to get sound from the speaker. Once we've got that, then we know it runs. Let's have this lead in here. and we're bringing this up slowly because of these capacitors. We don't want to just shock them. They've probably not had any power in them for years. So I'm just going to go up a bit more. Now we're up to 70 volts. You can see we've got 150 volts on the HT. You can see the bias is creeping up there. Just go up a bit more. So we're at 90 volts now on the Variac. We are drawing 115 milliamps, so that includes the Variac, remember, so that's not a problem. So far so good. Not expecting to get any sound till it gets over 120 volts. Let's just go a bit further. Now I've just gone over 110 volts. Now we're going to go up to, there we go. And you can see the bias is coming up now. We've got over 12 volts on there, and you can see we've got 227 on the HT, and we've got sound. Look at that already. Let's try the other channel. Well, there we go. That came up quick. No issues there. And the thing about this amplifier is that, apart from the mains part there, that on the power in, where you've got the broken bulging, and obviously the voltage selector's obviously broken at some time, and somebody's wired that in with a connector, poorly insulated it, but they've wired it up okay. But other than that, this amp's pretty much original. You know, no one's really been in here. I can't see any evidence of any work done other than that one capacitor that's been changed, which that electrolytic, which that's been done. That's a pretty good job. So yeah, it just needs a good fettling, cleaning up, and the cabinet repairing. Obviously it needs a recap, and that's quiet. You know, that chat. Let's just take the lead out now. I mean, that amp's flat out, and that is really quiet. There is no background noise whatsoever, only just the normal hiss that you get. Bright switch won't work when the volumes are full up. That is really quiet. That's running really quiet. And bear in mind, I've only got 111 volts going through on the Variac, and we're not putting any more in it. That's just enough. We know that it runs, and it does run. That's just it. Let's just put another 10 volts. It's got 120. That's running perfect. That's quite, I mean, again, you know, even the pots are a little bit scratchy, but given the, you know, how long this has been stood, you would expect that. But this is a result. It runs. It's the sort of project I enjoy doing. I enjoy, you know, bringing these amps back to life, making them safe, reliable. So there we go. That's we'll turn that down. We know it works now. We'll just take off the voltage, and no need to push it any further than that. So this is going to be part one. It's just an assessment of this amp. I've obviously bought this amp today, and I was obviously keen to make sure that it ran okay despite all the problems, and it does. It runs fine. So this will be a future project on the channel. We're going to restore this amplifier. We're going to go right through it. We're going to take the board out. We're going to replace all the capacitors, clean all the chassis out. We're going to replace those valve sockets as well because they don't look great. And I tend to favour more and more changing on EL34s, on changing the sockets. They do have a tendency to get a bit carbonised over the years, and sometimes they just leak across. So we're going to change those. For what they cost, we might as well change them. Helps to protect the transformers if the sockets are brand new. We don't want no incidents that pops any of the transformers, so it's easy just to change those. We'll have new obviously new screen resistors on there. Yeah, we'll just go right through it, clean it all up, wash its face as well. So I'm sure if you know, some of you from the States have probably never seen one of these amps before, so it was interesting to have a look inside it as well before we restore it later on. So that'll do it for this one. So thanks for watching, and you all take care, and I'll see you all in a future video. Bye bye for now.